everybody. It is Wednesday, and it's time for another edition of Proline. Big Al McMorty is on screen with me right now. I'm Dave Koken here in Las Vegas. Big Al out in L.A. We've got a couple of good games to look at tonight. NBA matchup as the Tim Duncan-less San Antonio Spurs take on the Denver Nuggets. And we're down to, 6 teams left in the NIT. And we'll look at one of those games. It's College of Charleston heads to Wichita State. We've also got some good offers to tell you about. And here's a free one, to get you started. This is from My Vegas Odds. And you've heard us talk about this. It's real easy. All you have to do is download it to your phone. If you have an iPhone, you go to the iStore, to the App Store or on iTunes. You download it. It's completely free, and you'll have all the information that the pros here in Las Vegas have right at your fingertips in front of you on your phone. My Vegas Odds is what you want to download. Al, we got before we get to the Spurs and Nuggets, let's talk about what you've got today. You got a big play in the NIT. It's your NIT Underdog of the Year.
Yeah, I've got a big play, Dave. It's out of a system that's 24-7 against the spread. I love this play, and it's only $9 for all callers on this Wednesday. It's my big play club. It's my Underdog of the Year in the NIT. Just $9. 866-896-1628. That's 866-896-1628. It's out of an NIT system that's 24-7 against the spread going back to 1991. 866-896-1628. My Underdog of the Year. Only $9 for all callers on this Wednesday, Dave.
All right. I'll tell you about what I've got going in a little bit. Let's talk about the Spurs and Nuggets, though. It becomes an interesting dilemma as far as handicapping San Antonio for two reasons. Oh, number one, Duncan is hurt. He's not playing. So that's going to be in the number. And number two, and I think it's just as much of a dilemma for the odds maker, by the way, they've got to put up a number without knowing which San Antonio team is going to show up. I mean, let's face it. The games don't mean a whole lot to San Antonio right now. They're going to be the number one seed, and that's it. They're way ahead of the Lakers and Dallas, and the race is over, despite the fact that Ron Artest says that with Duncan out, the Lakers can make a run at the Spurs now. No, actually you can't. Okay? That thing is over. Denver, they played well since the trade, no question about that. It seemed to galvanize the team. But San Antonio is still the Spurs. I mean, it's just, you can't automatically just fire against San Antonio and expect to collect the cash. How do you look at this one?
Well, to be honest, Dave, Ron Artest is right and you're wrong. The Spurs have a very, very, very difficult schedule down the stretch. I was projecting that they would go, in the 5-7 range or 6-6 range at best with Duncan. Now, without Duncan, I'm projecting they're going to go possibly 4-8.
Wow.
And that would be optimistic. And so the Lakers have a hell of a chance to catch San Antonio. Now, remember, the Lakers only have to tie San Antonio because the Lakers play San Antonio in Staples toward the end of the year. If they win that game, these two teams would tie in the standings. The Lakers would have the tiebreaker with a better conference record. So the Lakers only have to make up 7 games, not 8. And the way the Lakers are playing, they're not losing. They've lost one game at Miami since the break. It's very conceivable that the Lakers could lose at most one game the rest of the way. And if they do, if San Antonio goes 4-8, the Lakers will be the number one seed. If San Antonio goes 3-9, the Lakers could lose 2 games. You look at the team San Antonio has to play down the stretch. I mean, the next 5 games, they could go 0-5. Wow. At Denver, at Portland, at Memphis, home to the Celtics, home to Portland. It's conceivable they could go 0-5. Now, that's worst case scenario. You take a look at how the Spurs have done in history without Duncan. Okay? They're 848 and 366 in the games he has played, 70%. They're 34 and 29 in the games he's missed, 54%. So he's worth about 16%. So when I was projecting they would go, 6-6 down the stretch with him, which is 50%, you're figuring again, he's worth 16%. They could go 4-8, 33%. That's about what he's worth, 2 games over those 12. A very difficult finishing schedule for San Antonio. Let's look at this game tonight. These two teams have played 3 games already this year. San Antonio won 2 of them at the buzzer, the 113-112 game, and then the one in San Antonio. I forget the score. And then they had a blowout in San Antonio. Denver matches up well with the Spurs when the Spurs do have Duncan. They match up really well with the Spurs when the Spurs don't have Duncan, because the Nuggets have 2 solid frontline players and Nene at center, Kenyon Martin at power forward. The Spurs are going to be overmatched on the front line when they use rookie Tiago Splitter and Antonio McDyess starting against them. Denver's been on fire of late, 10-4 straight up, 13-1 against the spread since trading Carmelo Anthony to New York. Their point spread streak even goes back to the last game he played. They're actually 14-1 their last 15. So Denver's playing great ball right now. The players are saying it has to do with, being unselfish, playing the game the right way, which is kind of an indictment to the way they were playing when Carmelo was there.
Yeah.
Of course, San Antonio is another team that plays team basketball. The Spurs have won 3 straight. Now, you said earlier, Dave, the Spurs aren't really incentivized. Well, whether or not they are, and I believe they are incentivized, they still play basketball the right way. They still put forth their best effort, whether they need to win or whether they don't need to win. I just think this is a bad matchup for them tonight. I like Denver, minus the points. And I'm interested to hear, your thoughts on this game now.
Well, good. It's a good mathematical case you make for it still being a contest in the, in the Western Conference. Excuse me.
And not just the Western Conference. They're 7 games ahead of the Lakers. They're only 6 ahead of Boston and Chicago. So
yeah, and
long way for the Spurs to go.
And the fact is, I've been around long enough to see teams collapse down the stretch. I just don't see it happening with a Popovich team. I think they'll bow their backs and find a way to win maybe 7 games down the stretch. I know they got a tough slate, but some of those teams they're facing are also a little bit beat up right now. Memphis, no Rudy Gay. That's going to be tough for them down the stretch. And we'll see how it happens. I can't see the Spurs blowing this thing, and I just don't see the Lakers running off that many wins. They are playing better basketball. But, last night, boy, really fortunate to escape with a triple overtime win against Phoenix. By the way, those of you on the East Coast who don't stay up late, you missed a great game. That was an absolutely awesome basketball game last night. And Jack Nicholson sitting there, and they keep on flashing. He's wiping the sweat off his brow. I mean, it was a really exciting game last night. The NBA is pretty good. For those of you who didn't know the NBA, I left that years ago. Come back. They play good ball, and it's fun to watch. I can't go against Denver the way they're playing right now. I do think this is a tough spot for San Antonio. The flip side of that is I don't like where the number is because I understand Duncan's not in there, but boy, it's a pretty good adjustment. And I don't know that I want to give this much. What I do think the Nuggets are going to try and do is run them out of the building if they can, in terms of taking advantage of the altitude against a short-handed team and trying to push the tempo. They've got a squad that can do that too. They can get up and down the court pretty well. I'm going to look at the over in the game, and I'm not one who plays a lot of NBA totals, but I think that there may be some value in the over in this game because I think of what I think the Nuggets are going to try and accomplish tonight. And let's face it, San Antonio, probably a faster team without Duncan as well. They're going to get up and down the court more. So I think you've got a little bit of a value on the over, and that's the way I'll go in that game. I do have an NBA under the hat play tonight on another game. But my best stuff tonight is in college basketball, and my best stuff going forward, clearly in baseball. I absolutely love April baseball. Baseball is my favorite game anyway. For me, it gives me the most opportunities on a daily basis to make money. It's that simple. It's been my best game for a long time in terms of annual profits. It's going to be that way again this year. Last year was extraordinary. I had just a great season, and it started off great. My April baseball package is going to put you in the black. You're going to make money with this. $49. You get my baseball right through April 30th. And going to throw in free basketball as well, making this a dynamite package because you can get started tonight. You'll get games tonight that you can bet on and win. $49 for the entire package, and all you have to do is make one phone call, 1-866-841-1665. That's 1-866-841-1665. And don't forget my daily free plays. Those are available. All you need to do is text my last name, Kokin, C-O-K-I-N, to 313131. All right, we go to college basketball, and the College of Charleston still playing. Bobby Cremins doing a nice job in this postseason. They got what I thought was a perfect spot for a win against a flat Dayton team to start this tournament off. But then they got an impressive road win last time out. They were clearly the better team in that basketball game. Now they go further west. They headed to Wichita State to face the Shockers. Wichita, I guess my take here is that I'm unimpressed with the Missouri Valley Conference. It's just not a very good league this year. There were no standout teams in the Missouri Valley Conference this season. And it's actually in my conference power ratings, it ended up being the lowest I've ever had, the Missouri Valley Conference. There's usually one or two teams that are real good quality squads coming out of this league. It didn't happen this year. And Northern Iowa and Wichita probably were projected to be the two best teams in the conference. They're not bad, but they never really took off. Wichita actually started well and came back to the pack. We have seen in the postseason that they, it wasn't phony. So Northern Iowa, really unimpressive performance in their last game in whatever tournament that was. It's not the NIT, it's one of the other two. They get knocked off at home by an SMU team that's really not that good. I think Wichita's going to have trouble covering the number tonight. I would expect they'll win the basketball game. It is a nice advantage to be at home, second straight on the road for Charleston. But you know what? The Southern Conference may actually be underrated. It's not normally a really good league. It turned out that this year's Southern Conference, pretty good. Wofford gave BYU a very good game in the NCAA tournament. And BYU is still playing and could be still playing after tomorrow, believe me. And you've seen in their other tournament action, Davidson played well in their whatever initial tournament that was. I think this conference is a little bit underrated. Conference power ratings mean a lot to me in matchups between teams that are completely unfamiliar with each other. I think there's a little value with the Charleston side tonight, with this number being as big as it is. I don't think they'll win the game, so it's not a really strong call by any means for me. But, 8.5 or thereabouts on the number, I think that's enough to warrant taking Cremins in the points. So I'll go with Charleston in this game. Al, how about you?
Well, I was able to watch Wichita in person at the Maui tournament. I was actually quite impressed by the Shockers there. They played Connecticut in that first game, and Connecticut ended up winning the Maui tournament, and Connecticut's turned out to be a pretty good team. And Wichita actually should have won the game. They lost 83-79, but they were winning 81-76, and then the referees made some horrific calls to steal the game from the Shockers. I thought Wichita, and I agree with you, the Missouri Valley was weak this year, but I thought the Shockers were the most talented team in the Missouri Valley Conference. They just underachieved throughout the whole year. And now you take a look at what the Shocker team has done in this NIT tournament. They've been focused, and they've looked real impressive. And they just wiped out in their two games. Well, they wiped out Nebraska by 27 points at home. Then they went on the road, and they defeated the team that many felt was the best team in this tournament and the one that should have made the NCAA, and that was Virginia Tech. And they went into, Blacksburg, and they beat Virginia Tech in overtime. So I think you've got a Shocker team that, the light bulb finally has gone off. And they're a really good rebounding team. They've only lost the battle of the boards in 4 of their 34 games this year. They have a +8 rebound margin, which is 6th in the country. Charleston, for its part, is a below average rebounding team. They've got a negative rebound margin. I think this is one of the lesser additions of the Cougars. I think, you've got Charleston and Davidson. They're generally pretty good teams in the postseason, but I just think this is one of the lesser additions of the Cougars. I love Torrey Murray for Wichita. Anyway, I think the value is on the home team, and I would take Wichita minus the points, Dave.
All right, so we go a little bit opposite on that one. Don't forget, we've got 2 really good offers to take advantage of. One is going to get you immediate dividends on a really big game. Mine is a little lengthier. Mine's April baseball. A lot of plays between now and the end of April. And I do play a lot of baseball. It's a volume sport for me. So you're going to get tons of value on this package. $49 includes free basketball. Jump in right now. You'll get tonight's play that I like, my action play in college basketball tonight. 1-866-841-1665. It's a very good offer. And again, this price isn't going to be out there long, so take advantage of it. Meanwhile, if you're looking for a big return immediately, Al has a big play tonight. Tell him about it.
Yeah, it's my big play club. It's my NIT underdog of the year out of a 24/7 NIT system. Only $9. That's $9 little dollars. And, it's the cost of a Subway sandwich. You can call right now, toll free, 866-896-1628, my NIT underdog of the year, 866-896-1628, $9 on this Wednesday. Don't miss this big play.
All right, tomorrow, Sweet 16 action gets underway, so you definitely want to check out the Thursday edition of Proline because, we'll be looking at NCAA tournament action. As we get closer to the start of the baseball season, we'll talk some action on the diamond as well, try and get you some pointers going in to the new season. That's going to do it for the Wednesday Proline. So for Big Al and Dave Coker, we thank you a lot for watching and hope you have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.